Hello everyone and welcome to a pretty simple video. I'm Fergus Crawley. I weigh about 204, 205 pounds right now. I class myself as a hybrid athlete because most of that body weight is devoted to strength training, and we're about to head to the track to see how quickly I can do a mile best effort. 2020 I managed a 500 pound squat and a 4:58 mile in the same day. I haven't done too much track work or really focused on the miles as a distance since then. 2023, almost bang on 3 years later. Let's see what happens. Just done a couple of warm-up laps. It's windy, and the worst thing about this track is that the wind gets you coming this way, but doesn't benefit you over that side. So definitely something to bear in mind. I am in spikes for the first time in quite a while. I've done a couple of 400 meter reps in them recently, and this is going to be my first mile effort in them. So I'm worried for my calves. It could affect my pace, but this is essentially a time trial to see where I'm at in terms of ability before I set some big, fat, juicy, intimidating goals for the rest of the year in this sort of setting. So not really much else to do at this point other than get set up, finish off my warm-up, make sure that the scooter and GoPro is good to go, and then I'm going to let it roll and I'm going to talk you through it as we go. And it's game time. GPS is set, 1,609 meter target is locked and loaded. 3, 2, 1. Hello all, Fergus of the future here, reflecting on the past, which you are in fact witnessing in real time. So I'm going to commentate over how things went, the experience that I had, the lessons that I've learned, and how I'm going to apply them moving forward. So the most important thing to mention right off the bat is how am I going to be applying this moving forwards. And let me tell you, I'm officially throwing my hat in the ring. If there was a ring in front of me, I would throw my hat into it for the 500 pound deadlift and mile under 5 minutes. It's been the talk of the internet for a few years now. As far as I'm aware, only one person has sort of verifiably done it. And given that I've previously achieved the 500 pound back squat and sub 5 minute mile on the same day, which was previously the talk of the internet in certain communities for many, many years, I thought it would be really cool to try and get both accolades to my name. And if I'm being honest, I'm just really enjoying this style of training at the moment. Lifting heavy and running fast is something that I'm waking up feeling fulfilled and excited about, so I'm going to focus on that for the rest of the summer and maybe even the rest of the year. However long it takes, I'm going to get after it. So set things off with a clear pace intention in mind. I was looking to just hit 1:15 for my first lap and then settle into what the pacing was going to look like. Pretty much came in bang on around then. As you can see, my gait is a little bit restricted given I'm not all that used to spikes, as I've already mentioned. First lap and 9 meters in around the 1:18 mark, and felt smooth, felt stable, everything felt good. Didn't feel like I was getting too much stress on my Achilles and calves from the spikes, but definitely felt like I wasn't lifting my knees nearly as much as I should be, so technique can be improved on there. So that's the first point, that essentially there's some low-hanging fruit, free speed just from improving on my technique over the next couple of weeks, months of training, so that I can lift those knees up, really drive through and make use of the spikes so that I can essentially realize those speed gains that are sitting there waiting for me, because that's going to be essential, especially with a deadlift in my legs. But I'm more used to deadlifting on a track now than I have done previously, as I recently did the 500 pound deadlift and 5k under 20 minutes. So other bit of context here, as I had a very demanding lower body session the day before, about 28 sets through my legs the Monday before this on a Tuesday. So I went into this fatigued, and given the outcome in the end, I was pleased that I managed to work through it. I definitely felt that fatigue in the legs, especially with the spikes making me work a lot harder through my hips, through my quads and through my glutes and hammies. So that is something that I can be confident there's even more speed on the table when I am not carrying that fatigue. Coming up to halfway at this point, 2:34 for 800, 2:35 rather, and then 2:37 for the sort of halfway point of the mile. So feeling solid, and at this point I think I've definitely been benefiting from having done a couple of 5Ks on the track recently, because psychologically I felt quite confident, oh, this is halfway, I'm already going into lap 3, which is the most important lap on a mile. Lap 3 is where you have to make a decision. Am I going to hold on, or am I going to scale back and cost myself the chances of being able to see this through in a good time? And if you take the latter decision, then you will essentially cheat yourself out of your max effort. So I am well practiced in this, having done this over the sort of experiences I've had in the past, over the past couple of years, but I'm unconditioned to it currently. So I really did have to wrestle with that decision to sort of lay down the hammer and hold on in lap 3 before you just empty the tank in lap 4. So
Minimal mile specific training leading into this meant that I'm pretty confident that there's some more speed waiting there for me with some hard effort training. And I will hold my hand up and say that the hardest style of training I've ever done, the hardest thing I've ever done, has been a 4:58 mile, because it is just hard work. There is no cheating it. You've got to get your head down. You've got to really, really suck it up and just really focus, really work hard in its truest form, and that's what I'm kind of looking forward to, but equally it's what I'm dreading. So heading into the last lap here, and this is where I really start to feel the wind on that straight. As I mentioned, unfortunately with the track, the way the trees are set up, I don't know exactly what it is. You get headwind on one side but no tailwind to benefit you on the other, which is a real pain. So often I can find myself going to sessions really unpsyched about the prospect of having to run into a headwind at certain points, but it is what it is. This is a track I have access to, and as you can see, we can zoom around it on a scooter, which is great. So beyond that, this wasn't quite a full send effort in the end. I'd say I was getting used to the distance again. I was getting strategic and tactical with how I put things together in terms of the laps. I was viewing it one lap at a time, aiming for between the 115 to 120 rep range in terms of time per 400 meters. And that makes me confident that, again, there's some free speed on the table with a bit more specific training, a bit more focus, and that there is some low-hanging fruit gains to be made. The other thing is that I'm not simultaneously training for the squat as I was doing in 2020. The deadlift is already there, and I just need to hang on to that. So I think it's basically time to get to work as far as I see it. So I'm coming across the line here, not quite having full sent it, but having worked hard in 4:16. Happy days.
.5:17, definitely out of practice. I'm sure I've covered most of the key points in the voiceover, so give me a sec to get my breath back and then we'll talk. You've already had 5 minutes and 17 seconds of me chatting over that run, so I've probably said all I need to say at this point, speaking in the past tense based on something I haven't yet done in the future, which is melting my mind a little bit, along with the fatigue from the mile effort. But 5:17 I'm very pleased with. Wasn't quite full send. Limiting factor was calves and gait as a result of just being the spikes for the first time in a while. So what's exciting there is there's definitely some low-hanging fruit pace sitting there ready to go, just with some technique conversion, and then there's some hard work to get me back below 5, which is what I'm actually, for the first time in 3 years, excited to do. So, but before we close off today's video, I want to encourage you to check out the top link in the description down below, where you can get access to a discount code for Omnia Performance training plans. The Squat a Mile plan is the exact protocol I used to squat 500 pounds and run a sub 5 minute mile in the same day in 2020. And a lot of the methodology that sits beneath that is translated through into all the training plans available. So I'm currently focusing on running that sort of methodology and structure to my week. So if you want to do the same, lift heavy, run fast, run far, you know where to go. Beyond that, hope you've enjoyed this video. Make sure that you drop a like, comment down below with your thoughts, feelings, mile PBs and what your goals are. Make sure that you hit subscribe. Please, for the love of God, I need my inhaler and your subscription will give me air again. So thank you all for saving me. You're all CPR qualified now, brackets. You're probably not, please don't sue me. Thanks very much and goodbye.